guys, welcome back for another product review. Today I've got a review of something that is going to be very interesting to quite a few people. This is an action camera, obviously in the theme of a GoPro. However, this is not a copy of a GoPro. This is a copy of a copy of a GoPro. One of the more famous copy brands out there, SJCam, has pretty much wiped the floor with the market, especially outside the US. And this is an even lower cost version of that. As far as I can tell, it's an Amazon only company, DBPower, and I just happened to see it, and it was cheap enough where it was just an impulse buy because I wanted to check it out. If it turned out to be a total piece of junk, well, it was cheap enough where I still had fun with it, and I still got to make a cool video for you guys. So this is their mid-range model called, as far as I can tell, the HD 1080p. They don't really have a specific model number for this one like they do some of their other lines. They come in 3 different colors, black, silver, and white. I just like the black, so that's what I got. Now, I'm going to go through what you get in the box, then I'm going to go through its features and some of its quirks, because some of them are going to be very important depending on what you want to do with it. And then I'm going to go through some image tests, and I'm going to compare directly against really what it was originally based off of, this GoPro Hero 3 Plus. So, first of all, what you get in the box. It's kind of cool. Let me back the camera up here a bit. And why it's kind of cool is because it's more than just the typical cheap camera. Every one of them is a full-on kit with some good, some not so good, but some unique accessories. They're all GoPro compatible, and they actually specify GoPro/SJCam compatible. You have a large or tall 90-degree adapter here. And the one caveat with all this stuff, like some other really cheap adapters that I've gotten online, these captured nuts here aren't secured in place. So some of these will fall right out of the plastic when you undo them. So if you're going to use these for anything important, I would suggest super gluing these in place. So we got that. This is the connection USB cable. These do not use the mini USB like GoPros. They use the micro. One caveat with this, I found that the regular USB side that plugs into your computer or your power port is slightly oversized, and it wanted to stretch the port in my computer, so I did not use this. I don't like that. I don't like it when things don't quite fit right, and I just used a cable I already had. So just be aware of that. You don't want to stretch out your ports in your computer for sure. And then inside this bag, we do get a bunch of adhesive mounts. I'll talk about this in a second. No curved mounts though, so if you need one of those, you will have to buy one elsewhere. You get 2 flats, and one of them has a threaded tripod adapter in it. That is really cool. I like that feature. I use tripod adapters for my cameras all the time. Got one on right now. So I like to see that. All the 3M double-sided tape they use is the spongy foam type. It is not the high-tension red type that comes on actual GoPros. What I would suggest is if you are going to be putting this on anything super important, just take this foam off and use the real red 3M double-sided tape. You can get it anywhere, auto stores, Walmart, standard stuff. Way stickier than this kind of foam. This is like the bare minimum of what I would call adhesive. Not that sticky. So, okay there. Mounts, pretty darn good, so no problems. The other one here, I don't know if it was supposed to have one or not, but it doesn't. You get one of each. This guy, I didn't know what it was at first, but this is really cool. They show this performing double duty. One, they show it as a belt clip, so you kind of feed your belt in through here. I don't wear my GoPro on my belt like a pager, but they also show this, and this is what's really cool, in conjunction with a third party, they don't include it in here, suction mount grip and car adapter for the power. You can put this on your windscreen. It's got a tripod adapter on both ends, and it's a quick connect. So the camera just pops in like that. And you just lift this tab up to remove it. Here's the other cool thing. I'm not going to use it for the car. You can use this as a really convenient normal tripod mount because the regular GoPro fits. What's really cool about this is the GoPro mount, you have to use some type of case. Okay, you've got to use either one of these or the open back or a skeleton case, because the GoPro tripod adapter is a screw-on mount. Whereas this clip, it's direct. The camera just sits out here naked, and it's very secure. So I love this part. I'm going to be using this just with my regular stuff. That's way cool. You have a regular screw-on mount, and again, super glue that guy in. I've had a couple fall out just handling them here. I haven't even used these accessories yet. Just pulling them out of the bags, they're falling apart. Got a small 90-degree flip. We have a bunch of Velcro straps with some buckles, so you could put things around your wrist. This is cool. This is something I do not have with my other accessories. It's a variable spin around mount. So you can clamp this guy down and mount it to any angle. So you're not limited to just 90 or 180. Or I guess 0. This guy here, this is your optional belt clip. So if you really feel the need to wear it like a pager, you can do that. Got a standard screw mount. This is what they're calling an aerial tether. So if you want to put this on a drone, they give you a little metal safety wire and 2 extra pads of the double-sided sticky foam. These are just some generic cable ties. And a J-hook. This is very useful for using on helmets. This is an extra clip. Not sure why you would need an extra clip, but they give it to you. And a standard straight mount. And then they also give you an extra battery, which is really cool. So you can have one charged. The other thing is the batteries in this guy should last quite some time. Now let's take a look at the camera itself. It is on the order of a GoPro Plus backpack. It is extra thick. Let me show you a comparison here. First of all, the height is identical, as is the width, and just a little bit more height at the front there. So you can see it's not even a full backpack, like a half backpack worth of width difference. There you go. Lens sticks out a little less than a GoPro. It's a little shallower there. Now the operation and use, it's a little quirky. Oh, let me show you the cases. The case is actually a little chunkier. Here's a regular GoPro. Here's the DBPower. This is screw-on. Buttons feel a little gummy, a little stiff compared to the GoPro. These are very fluid, easy to push. Plastic looks good, it's very sturdy. The latch opens with a actual switch, so you just push that over, lift the front up. The back is quite chunky and has a large rubber seal. It's larger than the GoPros, and it actually, oops, sorry, bumped my camera there. It wants to push itself out, so it's a very good, at least feeling, water seal. In the back of the cover you have foam blocks, and that will keep the camera in position, stop it from squishing around. And you can see on the back that the unit has a built-in touchscreen. This is what's interesting. It takes into account some features of the old GoPros and the newer GoPros and the copies. So let's go through them now. First of all, you notice no front display. Everything is controlled on the back. It is not a touchscreen, even though it looks and feels like a touchscreen. It's got a tactile give to it. Nope, it is pure display. It's 1.5 inches. Resolution is very good. It looks beautiful. Colors are vibrant, and you can see everything in direct sunlight. It works great. Lens looks identical to the GoPro. Overall layout is going to be fairly familiar. The only thing odd is because all the controls are on the back and you use this mode button to go through some things, it's odd not having a button that you can see to go through things. So you have to remember it's on the back. It's also kind of quirky. I would say about 20% of the time it clicks and it doesn't actually register the command. The software is also kind of quirky. Sometimes going through the menus, it thinks you pressed one button and you pressed another and it freezes up. It's just, there are bugs in it, okay? It's funny how easy GoPro makes their software look. Like, oh, that's super simple. How could you screw up such simple menus? Well, take a look at some Chinese copies and you'll see how they can screw things up. But once you're aware of them, it's not a big deal. So on the back, you can see we have the touch screen. I'm sorry, the viewing screen. I keep wanting to call it a touch screen because so many are. You have a good bit of information on here. You got a time and date display, which is not correct, by the way. It's not May 4th. I don't care, though, because I turn it off when recording. We have a little battery gauge and a microphone display. That means the audio is on. You can, for whatever reason, turn the audio on and off as far as being recorded. You have an HDR, which, as far as I can tell, in video doesn't do anything. It looks like it's a photo-only feature. I just don't see any difference with it on or off. We have a little video camera display in the upper left-hand corner. It means you're in video camera mode as opposed to still camera mode. You have the resolution, 1080, full HD, and the time counter in the bottom. Okay, that's it for the normal non-recording information. You can turn all of that off and just have the preview picture if you so wish. The blue light means the power's on. You also have an amber light on top. You cannot turn these off. So that's a feature missing. You can turn all the displays off. You can turn the front panel off if you wish on a GoPro. You can turn the blinking lights off, but nothing on here. You can blank the screen after you start recording. However, the minimum time is a minute. So if for some reason you need it blank while you're recording, you will have a minute delay to wait. And it goes up from there. On the side, we've got the SD card slot, the micro USB, and a little tiny HDMI out. On the side here, we have up and down arrows. These are buggers. Let me tell you why. While recording video, these are freaking digital zoom, and you can't disable them. These are always active, and I already ruined a clip by accidentally bumping one of these and not knowing it. And it zoomed me in. You can see there, it zooms you in, has a little indicator of how zoomed in it is, and it is horrendous quality because unlike the GoPro, which has 4 field of view options, you have super wide, wide, medium, and narrow. Every single one of them is recording at full pixel. At 1080 in narrow, you're still getting a full pixel recording. Everything wider than that is recording out and cropping in. So you still get full quality. On this guy, it's exactly the opposite. You only have full pixel recording when you're all the way zoomed out. The moment you zoom in to anything, you are enlarging pixels, and it looks like garbage, like every other digital zoom does. That is not a fault of the camera. That is because digital zoom is the devil. But the fact that you can't disable these really sucks, because unless you're looking at the back here and you see that tiny little counter or indicator, you don't know I accidentally did it. Now, this has a beep. I've got it turned off. I'll go through the menus here. And I would actually suggest keeping the beep on, because if you accidentally touch one of these, it'll beep. So it might warn you. Other than that, there's not too much to the camera. Pressing the mode button once will cycle through to the next mode, and that goes between video, still, playback, and menu. This is still. It goes to the full aspect frame, and you do have some control over the white balance, exposure, and ISO. It is compensation, it is not manual control. One more to playback and one more to menu. The menus are okay. Now, like I said, I had a couple little quirks in here where it froze up, but you do have some decent options. Resolution, pretty limited. Here's going to be the first big deal breaker. This only does 30 frames a second at 1080. That's it, no other options. 720 will give you the option of going to 60. That's pretty much it. Those are your only 3 HD options. There's no 24, there's no, obviously, 4K, and there's no 60 at 1080, which, yeah, it's kind of limiting. And there is no real back button. Sometimes you can click the OK, but that's what's locked me up sometimes if you want to get back out of something. Cyclic record is kind of like the, I can't remember what GoPro calls it, but if you see something interesting, you hit the button and it saves that part. I've never used it. HDR, like I said, it appears, at least in operation, to be a still only. Motion detection, it's kind of like a security cam thing. I'm telling you this from playing around with it because this manual is 100% useless. You get a whopping 3 pages of instructions in Chinglish, some product features. The only thing I gleaned from this manual, and that's it. These are your entire instructions for operating the camera. Everything else is advertisements for how to use their attachments, and then it goes into other languages. That's it. The only thing I gleaned from this is that I had to go buy another freaking SD card, micro SD card, because all of mine that I use are 64 gigs. However, this guy is limited to, drum roll please, 32. So I had to go buy a 30 or a smaller one. I got a 16 because it was on sale, and I had a gift card from Best Buy just for this video to play with this guy here. The other thing to note, this goes in backwards from GoPro. You got to flip it. So he's in there. All right, continuing on with the menu. To be pretty quick, there's not a whole lot to it here. See, I just clicked it there. It clicked, but it didn't register to the next mode. It does that. Trying to make sure you guys can see it here in the sunlight. It's a little hard for me to see it even. Okay. Audio. You can, like I said, turn the audio recording on or off. Not sure why you would want to do that. You can turn the on-screen date stamp on or off. And you can change the still cam capture mode from time-lapse and sequence to single shot. You can change your sequence settings. Image size, you can go through the different megapixels for the still cam. Quality, I've got it up on the fine. Sharpness, got it all the way up. White balance, auto, or a few different presets. Color, you can choose a black and white or sepia filter. ISO, auto 1, 2, or 4, so not a low light camera. Exposure compensation, plus or minus 1 or 2/3. Face detection, still only. I'm not taking still photos with this, don't really care. Anti-shake, it does have software only image stabilization for the still camera. Sorry, I just bumped my tripod. Quick review, it'll show you your picture on screen. Date stamp, if you want it on or off, you can change the language of the menus. Auto power off the camera after a certain time. You can turn the beep sound on or off. I'm going to turn it back on. TV mode, if you want to do playback, it'll take off the menus. Screensavers, it's not a screensaver, it's screen blanking. That's where you can change if the back turns off after you start recording. I have it on 1 minute. It's shortest interval. You can change the playback hertz if you're in a different country. You can rotate it if you're using it upside down. And car mode, which will leave the screen on and leave all the information on for you. On-screen display, it'll turn off the extra information if you just want to use it as a preview screen. I have no idea what license setting does. There's a code in there, like a password. It may be a password to get in here. I have no idea. I'm not touching it. You can delete a clip, or you can format the card. We're going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to start with some new stuff. And you can default everything. I checked that I'm on the latest version, and there doesn't appear to be any other options on their website for this model. So it is what it is. All right, let's get to some image quality comparisons. Okay, here's a quick visual test. I'm holding them not together because I don't want to cover up any of the mic holes. I don't want to put the GoPro on the left of the DBPower because it'll hit those zoom buttons. Been there, done that. And I don't want to put the GoPro left side against the other camera because it blocks the mic. So here's some mixed light. I've got some incandescent bulbs facing me now. Open garage and a nice overcast day. So this is a mix of lighting levels. Just check out the quality. I'll probably do like a split screen or something here. So let's walk over into a little bit of a darker area. Now this GoPro is not a low light monster. This is only a 3+ black. If you want really good low light levels, you need to get the 4 black. So here's some darker shadows. My face should still be pretty good. You can check out shadow detail behind me there. So that's about as dark as I like to go with this particular GoPro. If you do a lot of nighttime work, you need a 4 or 5 now series GoPro, because they have the much better sensors. They can actually do nighttime 60 frames a second, where this 3+ black is limited to 30 frames a second at night. That's the biggest difference. So here's another shot in daytime. Alright, now I don't have a great way of putting these side by side on the bike, so I'm going to do quick runs around the block one at a time, and I'll just do the same shots. So let's see how that looks. Oh, and of course, make sure you pay attention to the audio level differences, which may be very different between the two cameras. Now, mounting the DBPower, I just ran into the first gotcha. Even though the clips, the actual mount points to accessories, is touted as GoPro and SJ Cam compatible, the actual mount points themselves are not. I have the GoPro original suction cup and J clip up here, and this does not fit. The plastic points on the mount clip itself are wider than the spacing for this DBPower. So you do have to use your own accessories to actually make your mounts. So I'm going to have to get the J clip that came with this and mount that to the GoPro stand mount. Alright, major problem number 2. These are not compatible. Yes, they clip in. They are not the same size though. Look at this wobble. Just sitting in there wobbling. This is absolutely useless. You cannot clip these to actual GoPro mounts. That is unusable. Your picture would be just nothing but blur. Lots of slop. So that's wonderful. I'll have to figure out some other way of mounting this guy to the bike. Okay, so what I'm going to do is mount the cameras pointing to the rear on my bike here, and that'll give you some cool audio from the exhaust too. But here's a new problem. The bar mount adapter they give you is useless. This is as large as it goes. It barely fits my middle finger. This thing isn't even going to fit a child's bicycle bar. The problem is they've got their threads reversed. These thread into these nuts sitting up top. So that's the maximum length that they go to. It does not fit. Even if I take this rubber insert out, which is required so you don't damage any of your finish, it doesn't even fit on this back bar, which isn't anything special. It's a 1-inch bar. Whoop-de-doo. The real GoPro adapter not only has the rubber glued to the inside of the pieces so it doesn't fall out. That's just a big loose piece they flopped in there, a C-shaped little cup. But the threads on these go the other way. They're bolts. So you have screw head bolts going all the way through here. This will open up to a couple inches. This is only halfway open. And that's all I need to go around this bar. Now the problem is, like I showed before, the real GoPro accessory clip does not fit the DBPower stuff. So what I'll have to do is swap this top piece for this top piece, and luckily these bolts will still go through here because there are hexagonal openings. So the flats can still sit in there. The other cool thing is on the GoPro, you have a slot on this side. You don't need to remove both of these to take this on or off. You just have to loosen this side and it pivots. And you can open it even with one hand. Unlike this guy here, which is just 2 cheap screws. So let's get this mounted. And there we go. Frankenstein mount It's not super secure. The cutouts are not the same size as even the GoPro screw heads, but it's good enough for what I need just for this quick test. So there you go. Let me know in the comments down below which one you think has the best audio and video quality. Who's this for? Well, it's definitely for someone looking for a lower cost action cam, and the cost is really what sets this thing apart. I got it for 35 bucks. I've seen it for 45, and I looked yesterday and it was up to 60. So the price fluctuates pretty greatly on this, even just on Amazon. I'm talking the same seller, same product. Tends to go up and down, but it's super cheap. Anywhere from 35 to 60, that's super cheap. The next nearest camera you're getting into is about 100 bucks, not including the accessories, which admittedly some of them suck and some of them need extra work. I could see a person using this well if you have a set of conditions and it's okay for you. You don't need 60 frames per second at 1080p. You don't need 4K, although I would never expect 4K at anything resembling this kind of price point, not knocking it there. But also for someone that does not need to mix and match between their existing GoPro accessories. So if you're just looking to put this one camera on a helmet, you're never going to put it anywhere else, or maybe stick it in one or two spots on your bike, you're going to use its included mount, I would personally forget about the actual accessories. And if you use the sticky mounts, like I said, get the 3M red tape, just peel that foam crap off and you'll be fine. But that's about it. So let me know what you guys think. If it looks like a steal to you, pick it up. Watch Amazon for the price fluctuations and see if you can snag a deal like I did. See ya.